All right, let's dive into a play that is just so sharp, so shocking, and so incredibly human. We're talking about Caryl Churchill's masterpiece, A Number. It takes this huge sci-fi concept of cloning and boils it down into this raw, intimate family drama that will absolutely stick with you.
I mean, just think about that for a second. The entire play really hinges on this one terrifying question. Imagine your whole life, everything you thought was true about who you are, just thrown out the window. That's exactly the bombshell that gets dropped right at the start of our story.
So, we don't start in some futuristic lab. Nope. The curtain opens on what looks like a totally normal living room. But you can feel it. There's a secret simmering just under the surface, and when it boils over, it's going to destroy everything.
We meet these two guys, Salter, a father who is clearly wrestling with some demons from his past, and his son, who he calls Bernard. But as we're about to find out, there's a number attached to that name. See, Bernard thinks his life has been pretty quiet, pretty ordinary, but his dad is about to tell him a truth that's going to change all that.
And this is where the title of the play comes in, and man, is it a gut punch. Salter reveals to his son that he is a clone, but it gets so much worse. The doctors who did it, they didn't just make one copy, they made a number of them, an illegal, totally unknown batch of clones out there in the world.
So Salter, he's immediately trying to spin this whole thing. He paints himself as the victim here, saying, hey, we should sue these doctors for what they did. He is scrambling, trying to manage his son's absolute shock. But this is just the first lie. The real truth is so much more painful.
And that carefully built story Salter's been telling? Yeah, it's about to come crashing down with the arrival of the one person Bernard 2 was copied from in the first place.
And here it is, the bombshell. Salter had told Bernard 2 that the original son, the one he was cloned from, had died as a baby. Well, that was a complete lie. The original Bernard is alive. He's 40 years old, and he is about to walk right through that door.
This right here gets to the absolute core of the play. Nature versus nurture. I mean, genetically, these two men are identical, but their lives, they could not be more different. Bernard 1 is just filled with the trauma of being abandoned, while Bernard 2 is the result of Salter trying to get a do-over, to get things right the second time around.
So cornered by his original son, Salter finally cracks. He admits why he did it. After his wife's suicide, he just felt like a complete failure with Bernard 1. So he did the unthinkable. He gave him up to the care system and had a copy made, hoping he could be a better father, basically trying to hit the reset button on his own past.
But here's the thing about the past, right? You can't just erase it. And Salter's attempt to get a do-over kicks off a collision course that can only, and will only, end in tragedy.
For Bernard 2, the clone, I mean, can you even imagine? Your entire identity, everything you are, is a lie. This quiet, simple man we met at the start is now just consumed with hate. He feels like he has to run, not just from his enraged original, but from the father who built his entire life on sand.
But the original Bernard, he sees his copy as a theft of his life, a living, breathing symbol of his father's ultimate rejection. He threatens to kill the clone, and believe me, it is not an empty threat. His rage isn't just about being copied, it's about a whole lifetime of being thrown away.
And the consequences, they come with this brutal, shocking speed. Bernard 1 returns to Salter and just calmly explains that he followed Bernard 2 and killed him. And then a little later, we find out Bernard 1 took his own life too. Just like that, in a flash, both of Salter's sons, the original and the copy, are gone.
So, Salter is left with nothing, absolutely nothing but the wreckage of his own choices. But remember, there wasn't just one copy. There were a number. And that leads us to the play's final and frankly, mind-bending encounter.
Lost in grief, drowning in guilt, Salter does the only thing he can think of. He tracks down another one of the clones. He's so desperate, just searching for something, anything. A connection, a familiar face maybe, another chance.
But Michael Black is, well, he's not like the others, at all. He is a completely ordinary, totally well-adjusted guy. He's a math teacher, happily married with 3 kids. He has a life that is 100% his own. And by all accounts, he's perfectly happy.
And this, right here, is the moment the entire play just pivots on a dime. Salters tells Michael this world-shattering truth about where he came from, expecting, I don't know what, right? Shock? An identity crisis? Instead, Michael is just completely unfazed. His identity isn't tied to his DNA, it's tied to the life he's living. And for Salter, that indifference is somehow even more devastating than the rage was.
So, Michael Black's reaction just throws everything into question, doesn't it? After all the high-stakes drama, the trauma, and the tragedy, it forces us to ask the play's deepest question. What really, truly makes us who we are?
I mean, think about it. You've got three guys, same exact DNA, but they have three completely different answers to that question. For Bernard 1, his identity is his trauma. For Bernard 2, his identity was a fragile thing that just shattered. But for Michael Black, identity is simple. It's the sum of his choices, his family, his life right now.
And the way Churchill tells the story is just as important as the story itself. The play is famously minimalist, like a bare stage, maybe a couple of chairs. The dialogue is all fragmented and overlapping, like people who can't even find the words for the horror they're in. It forces you to focus entirely on the raw human drama.
And critics, they totally got it. The Guardian called it a devastatingly compact study of guilt and what it means to be a father. It doesn't hand you any easy answers. Instead, it uses this wild idea of cloning to dig into these timeless human questions: responsibility, regret, and our search for meaning. And wow, has its power lasted. Ever since it premiered back in 2002, A Number has been staged all over the world, it was adapted into a movie, and it keeps attracting some of the biggest actors out there. It just goes to show you that the questions this play asks are more relevant now than ever before.
And this really brings us to the final, lingering thought. Michael Black, the happy clone who just didn't care, he challenges our deepest ideas about ourselves. While his brothers were absolutely destroyed by their connection to their originality, Michael is free because it means nothing to him. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is our obsession with being unique actually the thing that causes us the most pain?